Hey everybody, it's Angela and I am back with another Stash Dive layout today. And I am using some really old papers. I've got this one from Seven Gypsies and this craft one from My Mind's Eye. And I think the My Mind's Eye is from 2009 and the Seven Gypsies is from like 2010. So they're both really old papers. And normally I don't gravitate to craft all that much. But for these pictures, it just seemed to work, and I liked the timeline that was on there. These pictures are of our garlic harvest from last year, and I liked the timeline because garlic you plant the fall before. You know, most gardens you plant it in the spring and you harvest it in the summer. With garlic, you plant it in the fall and you harvest it in the late spring, early summer. So, yeah, I kind of liked the timeline since this was kind of spanning 2 years. And then I also like the dark green because there's just so much green in the photographs. I thought the dark green with these bright photos just made the photos pop on there. So other than putting these next to each other, I didn't have much of a plan as to design. So I thought I would just have a rummage through my stash and all the great stuff I have that available to use and just see what would work. So these are some tabs. Some of them are from the Scraptastic This Life Noted kits that I would get probably about 5 years ago. And then I also have like a Marvy tab punch. So when I get small scraps, before I throw them away, I might punch a tab out of the scrap and throw it in that bag. So it's kind of a combination. This is another craft product. Since I had that My Mind's Eye paper, I pulled out this little Recollections tag book, and it just has a bunch of craft things with gold foiling on it. I also just dug through my Rascog of different Project Life cards. I found these, and what was funny was I just pulled them because they were craft and had a similar look. And then I found out that they were also My Mind's Eye Life Stories product. So they were from the same collection as that grid paper, and I didn't even know it. They were in different parts of my scrap room, and like a love story, the two products came back together and found each other again. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a couple of these tags with the foiling on there. I liked the sunshine because it was, like I said, early summer, and it was actually really hot. It was probably in the 90s that day. And on the left you can see the tractor had already gone through and undercut the garlic, and I had gone and pulled them and laid them out like that to kind of start drying in the sun just a little bit. And then we would pick them up out of the field and cut the roots off and put them in the backhoe there, and take them back to the shop where we would hang all the garlic. And that's what the photo is on the far right, is all the garlic tied up in bundles and hanging in strings, and then they'll dry there. And then after that there's more cleaning that goes on, and sizing and sorting and all that kind of good stuff. So I just wanted to go ahead and document this, and I wanted to bring in more color. So for that sunshine and the love tag, you saw that I put those on some old, I think those are KI Memories file folders. They're actually scored to fold up and turn into a file folder, but I just left them flat as mats. And then I decided the layout needed a little touch of blue, a little bit more blue, so I go ahead and cut this little strip of blue paper, and I'm going to add it to the top and bottom. I can't tuck it under my photos because I had already glued them down pretty close to the side, to the edges. So I'm just going to put this strip above the photos and then place that bottom strip kind of a little bit over the photos and a little bit over the background paper, just kind of bridging that there, just to give a little more blue because I didn't want it to get too green and brown only. So yeah, so we did this. We grow garlic for seed. We sell it to places who then resell it for seed. So if you've ever bought garlic seed from a catalog, you know, it might have been garlic that was grown on our farm. And then we save back our own seed that we then replant the next year. And so then we do that in the fall. And and then grow it again the next year. So it's pretty labor intensive. You know, there's after you plant it in the ground in the fall, it does grow all winter, and then in the spring you have weeding to do, and then you also have to go and take the garlic scapes, which are the when the garlic wants to start to bloom in the spring. You don't want it to bloom, you want it to put all of its energy back into getting a nice big garlic bulb. So we have to go and cut all the garlic scapes off by hand, and yeah, so there's a lot of hand labor that goes into growing these, but we fill, like I said, seed contracts, and then we sell the rest as culinary garlic to restaurants and things like that. So, and then we also sometimes dry it, and I use a lot of garlic in my kitchen, so we really love the stuff. And so here I am. I've finally kind of figured out how I want to layer things. I'm doing a cluster in the top left and another in the bottom right. And then I decide to go ahead and do my title in the gold too, since I have it on those two tags. And I'm just going to be really inventive and call this Garlic Harvest. So I'm just pulling out the garlic and I'm putting it onto wax paper so I can kind of move it around and see where I want to place it. And I want Harvest to be smaller and in a different font. So I choose these little brown circles. And I think these are my mind's eye too. I can't tell, but so I'm going to go ahead and kind of place that. I like having that grid paper there because it makes it really easy for me to place things and get them straight. I'm going to use that tag there at the very bottom to do my journaling on. Here's some other really old papers. I'm looking for something because I know I have a little tractor die. So I go searching through my dies here looking for it. I can't remember what manufacturer it's from, but I also like these little Sizzix tags, so I think about cutting a few of those. And I like that green paper because it's, you know, kind of distressed. It's a little bit different color than my background paper, so it will lend a little bit of interest there. So I know the tractor is in here and I'm looking for it, and it's actually smaller than I remembered it, so I had kind of passed it right by. So I'm looking through here. It's like, I know you are in here. And then I find it. It's just a little tiny thing. So you can go see that I went ahead and cut that off screen. There's my little tractor, and I cut some tags too, but I don't actually wind up using them. I was thinking of putting the Harvest and putting it on the tag down there, but yeah, then I would only have two places where I had that green and it was just looking kind of off balance, so I didn't use the tags. And then I decide that I want to stack both the garlic and the word Harvest up there on that graph paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and commit to these other items. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on these thickers because they're pretty old. So I went ahead and glued all those down, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add a little touch. This is the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. I'm just going to put that on the tractor. And yeah, I didn't have, I didn't want it to get too themey. I didn't want to I didn't have any garlic images, or I probably would have put them on there and made this themey because I do like that kind of stuff. But I did want to have a touch of farming on there, so I went ahead and put the tractor. But that was all that I did really that was themey. But you know me, I like a good themey layout and using all my die cuts and papers and images and things that I have that fit a theme. But for this one, I kept it pretty simple. And then because the tractor wasn't standing out all that much, I went ahead and I took my black pen after I did my journaling there, and I went ahead and just kind of did some outlining of areas just to give it kind of a shadow line and to make it pop off the background page a little bit. And I like that. It's there. It's, not overly themed, but it does say, hey, this is another farming layout, and I got to use my tractor die. So that is my completed layout. I had fun pulling out all this really old. I mean, some of these things are more than 10 years old. So, with farming, you never know when you're going to have funds to buy scrapbooking stuff or not. So, it's kind of nice when you don't have money to buy new stuff. You've got all this great stash to dive into and you still get to play. So, yeah, I had a great time doing this. And there you can see all my close-ups, the little tractor, and my journaling. I haven't erased my pencil. I write in pencil first and then write over it with pen, and then I erase my pencil, which I forgot to do, so I have to go back and do that. But that is the completed layout. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any questions or anything, just leave them down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!